everyone. My name is Tasneem. I'm the senior manager at 98 percentile in the HR department. And today we did a wonderful drive with XLR. It was amazing right from the very beginning, from the very first day when I got in touch with them till today. I think it was an extremely smooth journey with them. There were multiple follow-ups done by the representatives in order to check that we would be, what time we would be coming, how many people would be coming, what vehicle we would get. To that extent, they were so precise in giving all the information to us. It was extremely great to get associated with them and have a drive at XLR campus. So we are very, very happy that we got a chance to do this. Now, coming to the students, what XLR had, I think they were extremely enthusiastic. They were well prepared. They were aware of what they are coming for. I think there was some back-end preparation which they did that was commendable. They also were very confident and they were open to any kind of, thing we were asking them to do. That was I think, the best part. Now, I really hope we have a very, very fruitful association with each one of them and XLR in future. We are really looking forward to have many more drives like this.
Hi everyone, my name is Prachi Sharma and I'm the Senior Project Manager for IT Department at 90th percentile. So today we were here for this IT bootcamp, right, this technical drive and at XLR. So it was a great experience and I would feel that the students, they are the freshers, right, but it doesn't seem like that. So if I talk about their technical and cognitive ability, they all seems pretty good in that and that's what I felt. And I guess they have been taught pretty well at XLR, so that's how they have performed good in their aptitude and the technical tests. So I wish them all the best, and it was a very great experience over here.
Hi, this is Patan, Technology Consulting Manager from 98th percentile. We visited XLR for the campus placement drive and it went very well today. Ms. Ambika, Ms. Pragati, everyone received us greatly here and we had a lot of enjoyable time here. The students even had great experience with us. They were interactive, they had good aptitude and all the technological skills they showed. I think they were all well and we really appreciate their time that they spared to us and I think we will be doing a great job. We are expecting a lot of people to be hired from them. Let's see. it was a great experience altogether.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
From entering into this cyber tower to exiting out of this tower, the XLR team has been received me with such a care and pleasure.
I am the part of this XLR since 4 months. From the third month itself, they have conducted the placement sessions from the third month itself, and this is the fourth month, and this is the 98th percentile is one of the placement drive I have attended so far, and attending to this drive is such a good experience for me. All the HRs and the team made us feel very comfortable and confident.
XLR helped me a lot, and I experienced a lot of things today. So I'm really hope to be placed in that company. I'm confident about that. Thank you.
Yeah, hello everyone. My name is Tasneem. I'm the senior manager at 98 percentile in the HR department. A wonderful drive with XLR. The very first day when I got in touch with them till today, I think it was an extremely smooth journey with them. There were multiple follow-ups done by the representatives in order to check that we would be, what time would be coming, how many people would be coming, what vehicle we would get. To that extent, they were so precise in giving all the information to us. It was extremely great to get associated with them and have a drive at XLR campus. So we are very, very happy that we got a chance to do this. Now, coming to the students, what XLR had, I think they were extremely enthusiastic. They were well prepared. They were aware of what they are coming for. I think there was some back-end preparation which they did that was commendable. They also were very confident, and they were open to any kind of thing we were asking them to do. That was I think the best part. Now, I really hope we have a very, very fruitful association with each one of them and XLR in future. We are really looking forward to have many more drives like this.
Hi everyone, my name is Prachi Sharma and I'm the Senior Project Manager for IT Department at 90th percentile. So today we were here for this IT bootcamp, right, this technical drive and at XLR. So it was a great experience, and I would feel that the students, they are the freshers, right, but it doesn't seem like that. So if I talk about their technical and cognitive ability, they all seems pretty good in that, and that's what I felt. And I guess they have been taught pretty well at XLR, so that's how they have performed good in their aptitude and the technical tests. So I wish them all the best, and it was a very great experience over here.
Hi, this is Patan, Technology Consulting Manager from 98th Percentile. We visited XLR for the campus placement drive and it went very well today. Miss Ambika, Miss Pragati, everyone received us greatly here and we had a lot of enjoyable time here. The students even had great experience with us. They were interactive, they had good aptitude and all the technological skills they showed. I think they were all well and we really appreciate their time that they spared to us and I think we will be doing a great job. We are expecting a lot of people to be hired from them. Let's see. It was a great experience altogether.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
From entering into the cyber tower to exiting out of this tower, the XLR team has been received me with such a care and pleasure.
I am the part of this XLR since 4 months. From the third month itself, they have conducted the placement sessions from the third month itself, and this is the fourth month, and this is the 90th percentile is one of the placement drive I have attended so far, and attending to this drive is such a good experience for me. All the HRs and the team made us feel very comfortable and confident.
XLR helped me a lot and I experienced a lot of things today. So I'm really hope to be I placed in that company. I'm confident about that. Thank you.
You can start.
All right. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to this session. I hope everyone's doing good. Right. So today is going to be the third day of our session, and we learned quite a bit of basics in the past 2 days, and I hope you are all able to understand it. So these are going to be the stepping stones towards understanding this particular programming language, right? Or for the matter, it could be any other programming language as well, right? So these are the basic concepts, right? So if you are able to understand the past 2 days, whatever we have done, just type in Y so that I know that you are all able to catch up with what we are doing. So please type in Y if yes. All right, I see a lot of them. Good, good. Okay, so let me share my screen. Please do let me know once it is visible. Yes? Okay. Thank you for the confirmation. Sachin, you can go to the Jupyter website where you can install it with a simple pip command. Okay, I've already shared the link for it. And if you still are not able to get it up and running, for the understanding, you can always open the Google Colab, right? Collab.google.com is going to take you to the Google Collaboratory notebook. And you can open a new notebook over there, which is going to help you, write your Python code. Okay, right. So a few of concepts were, overflowed into the third day, which we are going to be covering today, right? So let's get started without any delay, guys. So how do we open our notebook? It's a simple command, Python -n notebook. Okay, so this has opened a Jupyter notebook here like this. And I can just choose a new file if I want, but let me choose the previous one so that we can just, go through the overview of what we did yesterday. Right. So we dealt with some data types as well as some data structure, right? From the primitive data types like numerics, strings, Boolean, and so on, and towards the complex data types or data structures in this case, like the lists, the dictionaries, and the tuples as well. Then we looked at the different kinds of strings that are available, where you can write your regular strings, your multi-line strings, your raw strings, the Unicode strings, the byte string, and as well as the formatted string, right? And we had a demonstration as to how we can look at our data structures and how we can navigate through them as well, how to store data within them and how to access them and perform various operations on them as well, right? So that was all about yesterday. And let's get started with the today's session. All right. Oh, also, we saw some mathematical operations, right? That is with the arithmetic operations along with the logical, right? So we had an example of whether an employee should be allowed or not with the help of two Boolean values, whether he has the access card and also whether the biometric has been verified. So with this, we were able to understand how to write your logic. Okay, so it always returns a Boolean value. It will be either true or false. Okay, so today we are going to understand the bitwise operators. Okay, although regularly you will not be using something like this, but this can be used in different domains. Like if you're working with the networking domain, or if you're working with the embedded systems or cryptography, right? There are many of the scenarios where you may be using bitwise operators. And these operators help us to perform the bit level operations. So what does a computer contain generally? What does it understand? Right? It is all zeros and ones, correct? So with that, you will be able to perform bit level operation. So we have bitwise and bitwise or bitwise XOR, right? XOR is exclusive OR. Then bitwise not. Not is also called as the complement operation. Then we have the left shift and as well as the right shift. Okay, so let us get back to our notebook. Okay, so let us take two values. A can be 5 and B can be, let's take 3. Okay, so the binary representation of this decimal value. So this is obviously a decimal value. And if you were to write it in the computer's language, it is going to be binary, right? So the binary value would look something like 0, 1, 0, 1. So to understand this, this is a bitwise, bit level operation where each position has its own value, right? So this is 2 to the power 1, sorry, 2 to the power 0, 2 to the power 1, 2 to the power 2, 3, and so on, right? So that is how the binary value works. Okay. So here, how does this equate to 5, right? So this becomes 1. At the last position, what we have, this value will be 1. So let me just take a whiteboard instead. Okay. So you have 4 places, right? So this is 2 to the power 0, 2 to the power 1, 2 to the power 2, and 2 to the power 3. Okay. So here, what was our number again? 0, 1, 0, 1. Okay. 0, 1, 0, 1. So 2 to the power 2 is what? 4. And if you add 2 to the power 0 will be 1. So 4 plus 1 is going to give you 5. I hope this is clear. This is the basic operation that occurs in any computer. Okay. But you don't really have to worry about it too much because you just have to understand the concept. You don't really have to worry how to write it in binary. Okay. So we can't really do that. We are only humans, right? Okay. So if what we just did is clear, just let me know so that I can move on with the next, the further topics. Just type in Y if you understood this. So it is a very basic operation. Okay. I can see that Pallavi, I can't hear the voice. Is it the same for the others? Sorry, I forgot to do a quick audio check. Is it audible and is my screen visible to you all? Okay, it is all clear, visible. Perfect. Thank you. Please check your network, whoever is having the difficulties. Okay, so mostly it would be on your side. Okay, right. Anyway, since this is out of the way, so let's get back into our program. So this binary value would be, it would look something like this: 0, 0, 1, 1. Here, 2 to the power 0 and 2 to the power 1. So 2 plus 1 would be 3. Okay. So next, if we perform bitwise AND. So how do you do the bitwise operations? So let me move it to the next cell for better visibility. Okay, it is just using the ampersand symbol, A and B. Okay, so this is going to give us 1, right? How is it 1? It is making a addition between these two, right? So addition is, again, let me get back to the diagram. So what are the numbers? 0, 1, 0, 1, 0, 0, 1, 1, right? 0, 1, 0, 1, 0, 0, 1, 1. So what the AND or the bitwise AND, right? What this AND does, it is both are the same in operations, but it is just that we use it in different formats. So this is used for bits, okay, and is used for other variables, okay. So and it states that both the values should be true, okay. So here this is true, 1 is true and 0 is false, okay. Both the values should be 1 or true in this case, okay. So specifically in this case it is just 0 and 1. So 1 and 1 will give you 1, 0 and 1 will give you 0 because the condition will not satisfy. 1 and 0 will give you 0 again because this is 0. 0 and 0, obviously 0. So 2 to the power 0 equals to 1. So that was our answer, right? Bitwise AND gave us that value. Okay. Similarly, we have bitwise OR. A, what is the symbol that we saw? This is called as a pipe symbol. Okay. So if you do not know what symbol this is and where to find it on your keyboard, it is right above your enter key and below your backspace. So if you can just look at your keyboards, you will be able to find that there. Okay, it is a pipe symbol. This is not a slash. Okay, neither a forward slash or a backward slash. Okay, but it is a pipe symbol which is upright. Okay, so bitwise OR is going to give us 7. How is that 7? So what are the values here? We have, again, let us remove these, whatever we did so far. Okay, so or the pipe symbol, it states that either one of the values should be 1. Okay, it is okay if one of them is true or 1. So both of them are true, so it is true. So 1 and 0 will give us 1, and that is 0 and 1. So here 1 and 0 is going to give us 1, and here 0 and 0 is going to give us 0. Okay, so 2 to the power 0, 1 and 2 raised to 2. So 4 plus 2 plus 1. It's obviously 7, right? So that is the answer that we got here. Okay, so you don't really have to worry about all of these, but you must know how it works. Okay, as a programmer, you must know how it actually works. Okay, so similarly, let us perform an XOR operation. Right, bitwise XOR is going to be defined with a cap symbol. Okay, so this again, you can find it in your keyboard, mostly under the numeric value 6. So shift 6 is going to give you this symbol. Okay, so bitwise XOR is going to give us what value? Again, it has some binary value which is converted into decimal. See, what we are doing here is this is a conversion of decimal. So earlier it was, this is the binary digits. Okay. And what we did later, we did a conversion. So this is the converted part, which is the decimal. Okay. So decimal value will be 6. So let us, not really worry too much about it. Okay. If you just understand what and or XOR, not, and left shift and right shift does, which is not exactly related to Python. It is a concept out there. Okay. Just, go through these concepts and you will understand what it is. Okay. Right. So XOR, it says that either or says that either one of them should be true, right? XOR says it is exclusive or. It says only one of the values should be true. So if both these are true, it will be false. So that is what XOR states. Okay. So just do the math and you will be able to get 6. Okay. I hope that is clear. Do you want me to explain that explicitly? Because we will be essentially deviating from our Python concept. Okay. Right. How to write binary values? We just saw, right? It is the 2 raised to from 2 raised to 0, and it goes on towards the left hand side. Just look it up. You will be able to find this. It is a concept which is not exactly related to Python, but it is a computer science concept. Okay. If you have any doubts still, we can clarify it in tomorrow's class. Sounds fair? All right. Cool then. Thank you. Right. So what I'll just tell you what the rest of them does. Bitwise OR and Bitwise and we figured it out what it does, and as well as Bitwise XOR. Right. So Bitwise not. So not of A is defined with a tilde symbol and provided with the actual variable. Okay. So when you do this, what happens here? Whatever zeros and ones that you see, so 1 will be changed to 0 and 0 will be changed to 1. So that is what we mean by the not operator. Not just does the opposite, right? Wherever you see 1 should be replaced with 0, and wherever you see 0 should be replaced with 1. Okay. So that is the bitwise not. Okay. Then we have left shift. Left shift of let's say left shift of A and shift by 1 digit. Okay, left shift is going to give us a value 10. So how does this happen? So whatever the values that we see here, right? Write 10 in the binary format and imagine that this itself is 10 for the sake of argument. Okay. Left shift means you are just going to shift the operators towards the left by, just by 1 digit. One moment. Yeah. So you are just going to shift the operators like this. Okay, then your value changes. Similarly with right shift as well. Okay, so when you do this, your value will be converted. So generally in your programming, you will not be using the bit level operation, but as far as the knowledge goes, I believe that everyone should understand this because you are a programmer and knowledge like this should be available to you guys. Okay. So that is mostly about the bitwise operators. All right. So next, we are going to move ahead with the decision making. All right. So decision making is a fundamental aspect of programming, right? So as we can see in the slide, it will help us to make the decisions within our program, within our script. So you might be using a lot of conditional statements. So there might be certain conditions which exists in your program. Okay. So using the decision making, constructs within Python, you can use it. Okay. One of them is if. Okay. So if statement can be used to execute a block of code if a condition is true, right? So we are going to look at how an if block looks like, right? So here we can see that there is a variable which is taken and it is a numeric variable called age and it is assigned to 25. Okay. Here it says it is doing a check. If age is less than 18, it is printing onto the display saying that you are a minor. Else, it says you are an adult. Okay. It is just checking for the condition here. What is the condition? Age less than 18. So what we saw yesterday with the conditional statements, right? That is equal to, not equal to, less than, greater than or equal to, less than or equal to, not equal to, right? So all of these can be combined now. So using the conditional statements, that is the decision making part of it. Okay, so let us start executing this. Okay, so the same thing, we can take age is 25, and here it starts with the keyword called if. If is a keyword here, and any keywords that we present it with is going to be highlighted with the color, right? So you can see that it is all color coded. And if you write the same kind of code in a text, that is just a notepad, what happens? Everything is going to be having the same color, which is black, right? But is that going to help you with any readability? No, correct? So therefore, we are making use of this IDE, right? So the representation of keywords will be different in this case. So if age, I've just taken this variable so that I can verify it. Age is less than 18. Okay. And it will be preceded with the colon. And when you see, I pressed enter and it went to a space somewhere in between, right? What I did here, I just pressed enter and it gave me the cursor somewhere here. So why is that? And what is that, first of all, right? This is called as an indentation. In Python, we term it as an indentation, and indentation is nothing but some spacing within the program, right? So it follows a syntax where your program has to be sort of arranged in a specific order, right? Order as in it should have some proper spacing. It should have some, gap between them. Okay, so it seems a little bit scary thinking that I have to give the right kind of spacing. I have to maintain a lot of things. Python is kind of high maintenance, so you don't really have to worry about it. So that is why we have the IDEs, right? So it is helping me to indent automatically here. So the next line, which has to be written within an if statement, if condition, should be written with this block, with this indentation block. So what I'm going to write here is print says, let's take the voting. You are not not eligible to vote. Okay. So it doesn't have any sort of semicolon or anything, as opposed to the other programming languages, right? So else, and you saw that I removed the indentation. See, when I pressed enter, it gave me with the same indent, but I am done with my if block. This is my if block. So I want to proceed with an else block. Okay. So else, else is what? If condition, if the condition that you have given is not satisfied, it goes into the else condition, right? Else, do whatever you want, right? That's how it says. And that whatever we want is going to be something like this. You can vote. Okay. So here, when I run this, it says you can vote because the age is 25. What if I change it to 15, right? So what would be the output? Is it the first one or the second one? Correct. Good, good. Thank you. I can see that you are all following this. So it says you are not eligible to vote, right? Perfect. So isn't it simple how you can condition your statements, right? So let us look at another example, where you can, chain your if block, right? So that is going to be done with the help of elif, right? Elif is nothing but it is a short form of else if, right? Else if, that is, if the condition is not satisfied, write another condition, right? Write another condition with the help of elif, right? So here what it says, the elif statement is used for multiple conditional checks after an if statement, right? That is exactly what I told you. And then the else statement is used to execute a block of code if the condition in the if statement is false, right? So if the condition is not satisfied, then what happens? It goes into the else statement and executes whatever is within the else statement. So it is your choice. You can add, you can add the else statement. That is up to you, right? So this is how we are going to be able to make the decisions based on the values. So let's take another example. What just happened? Okay. All right. So let's take grading. Okay. We can easily take marks. So marks is, let's give some value. For now, let's keep it some random number. And you are going to be calculating the grade based on the marks that you get. And this is where we are going to be chaining the condition, right? I can see that one of the questions, how we can add multiple conditions, right? That is what we are going to be learning here. So do not worry. We'll be learning all of them. Okay. So if marks is greater than or equal to 90, I can assign a grade here. Print. Okay. Grade is A. Okay. So the beauty about programming is, and a trick towards writing faster code is copy paste. Guys, it is nothing but copy paste. As developers, we are going to be doing a lot of this because you are focused on the problem statement. You are not really focused on writing the code. Trust me, it is not about writing the code here. It is about solving the problem. And what is the tool for that? Is your Python or any programming language that you have. Okay. So do it as smart as possible. Pick the smart way. Okay. So what I did, I just copied this block and pasted another block. Okay. I can just change this to elif. Okay. So else if marks is greater than or equal to 80, right? We can just change the grade as B, right? So again, we can quickly, right? So marks is greater than or equal to 70. We'll say grade C. Okay. And let's say that no matter what, you can't have grades for every single percentage, right? So below a certain percentage, you can just say that the grade can be the final, the last available grade out there. Okay. So in this case, let's just say print grade F. Okay. So if you just run this code now, you can see that the grade is B. Why is that? You can easily understand through the code because our marks is 89, and to reach grade A, it has to be greater than or equal to 90. It is very close, okay, but it cannot be satisfied. See, machine code is 0 or 1, right? It doesn't understand in between. So it is either black or white. It doesn't understand gray. So here you can say that, hey, my marks is 89. Why can't I have grade A? Right? It doesn't really work. Okay. So here in this case, it is grade B. So if you have to reach grade A, let's say you score about 90. So then your grade is A. And let's say it so happens that the grade is around uh, not that low. Let's take about 56. Okay. So here it goes into the else condition. Why is that? Because none of these are satisfied. All these are nothing but your conditions, but none of the conditions could be satisfied. Therefore, it went into the else condition, right? Doesn't matter whether it is 65 or 59 or 40, right? Therefore, the grade is always going to be F. Okay, so this is how you can chain multiple if statements. Okay, multiple conditions can be achieved, right? I hope this is clear. So with this, you will be able to create complex operations. So if you just understand how to write your logic, you can add any sort of complex operations after this. Okay, right. So please type in yes if you have understood what we just did. So this is the conditional statements. So if, elif, and else. So these are the three components that we have understood, right? And each of them can be a block, right? Each of them are blocks. And here, how many blocks are there? Can you just type into the chat box so that I understand whether you actually got the concept or not? Yes. Amazing, guys. So 4 blocks. So all of you have got it right. So we have 4 blocks of code within this entire cell. All right. So let's get into the next concept, which is looping. Okay. So loop is what? It is a repeated execution of code, right? A repeated execution of code as number of times that you want. Okay. Right? We have while loop and for loop. So certain times, what you have to do is just 1 second. Okay. Sorry. Okay. So what is this? This is just a block of code executing just once. Correct. Right? But if you want to execute the same code multiple times, what do you have to do? You have to make use of the looping statements, right? So, the Python provides quite a lot of the solutions for this, and one of them is the for loop. Okay, first let us go through the for loop. Do we have anything here? 1 second. Okay, so that's the bigger code. We can't really put it in the slide. So let us add it here. Okay, let's take a list. What we had yesterday. Where are the lists? Okay, So let's take a list, or let us have a a normal list. Okay, numbers. Okay, we have a list of numbers ranging from 1 to 5. Okay, so how do you actually loop through this? Is so using the for keyword, for, and let me just type in. Okay, I'll explain the syntax later. For num in numbers, and then colon, we'll just say print, uh, you know, current number equal to, and for this, let us use the f string so that we can format it. Okay, none. So here you can see that this piece of code got executed how many times? 5 times, correct? So earlier, how many times this got executed? Just once, right? But this one got executed about 5 times. Okay. Why is that? Because it has total 5 elements within the list. And for each element, it is going to run an iteration. Okay. So every time it runs, we call it as an iteration. Iteration or iteration. Okay. Uh, it is said both ways. So you can choose whichever you want. So here you can see that it runs 5 times and for 5 iterations. Okay. And that is about for loop. And let us understand the syntax first. Okay. It always starts with the for keyword. And what do you have to loop? It is the numbers. Okay. And you can assign something, some alias, right? I'm just saying um, alias for each number. Okay. I'll just call it as num. So can I do that? Just for my understanding, right? So I can call it I can call it J, right? I can call it anything at all, but it all depends on my understanding and others' understanding as well. For the convenience, I'm just taking num. Okay. So you can also say number. So here, numbers is the plural. So plural means we have more than one. Here, number is the singular. Okay. For number in numbers. Okay. Then if I try to print this, what happens? It won't really actually work. So it should not work. So let's execute here. Yeah, it gets messed up, right? Because why? You're not using the same variable. So you have to use number itself. Okay, then it is all proper. Okay, I hope it makes sense. So similarly, you can iterate through any other list. So take a list of fruits, if you may. Okay, and how do you iterate through them? For fruit in fruits. Just ensure that both are not the same. Okay, both should be different. So why f is used in this? It is because we want to format this string. We learned this in yesterday's class, so you can go through this and you will be able to understand what it is. Okay, right. So for fruit in fruits, let me just copy this and current fruit will be fruit. And when I print this, it gives me all the fruits within the list. Okay. It is not necessary that you have this entire string. You can just print this and it gives you all the list items. Okay. So why to make use of a for loop, right? So similarly, why to make use of a list is because you don't want to have multiple variables. So fruit one, fruit two, fruit three makes no sense, as we already discussed about it. So similarly, when you have a list of items, you want to go through each and every one of them. So how can you access? What is the other way of accessing each of them? Fruits of 0, then fruits of 1, then fruits of 2, right? But this is a very tough job if we try to do this, right? So the main motto of any programming language is to make our lives easier, make our jobs easier. So that is why you have to use the programming constructs like this. Okay, that is why we have our for loop so that we can navigate through all of these. Okay, right. So no need to print /n in this. Okay, so you don't have to worry about it. It is not like your C or C++. So it takes care of it. Okay. Any other questions? Any questions in this before we move on to the next one? Okay, I guess we can move on to the next one. So iteration is nothing but your looping, right? When you're looping, every time you come back to this. So what happens when you say that loop through these numbers? So let me just remove this for a while or just copy this into a different block. And remove this entire thing. Okay. So here you can see that it has gone through this for loop. How many times? 5 times. Okay. And each time it goes through this loop, we just call it as an iteration. Okay. So if you want to just print it, iteration, what happened? Yeah, it is the variable, right? So iteration, this is the first iteration, second, third, fourth, and fifth. So on up to nth iteration, depending on how many number of items you have in the list. Okay, right. I hope you understood this part, because why don't we solve some complex questions on loops? Certainly we can do it, Sampath, but not everyone in this audience is able to understand the complex operations yet. So please bear with us and we will get there. Okay. And also the notes will be provided to you so that you can explore further into it. Okay. You will have multiple examples within it. Okay. Right. Okay. Let's move on to the next one. How can you nest a loop, right? So we saw that there was one loop here. How can you have multiple loops, a loop within a loop, right? So this you must have done in any of the coding challenge or something, if you have taken it. So let's say for I in range. Okay, I'll explain you what range does in a moment. Okay, then we can take one more for j in a range of 2, right? And what you can do here is you can print I as well as j. Okay, so when you do this, what happened here? One second, there must be a. Oh, sorry, I missed the in keyword. Okay, so that was it. right? So we can see that. Yeah, thank you, Ravi. That is a good catch. Okay, so you can see that we got two loops, a loop within a loop, right? How many iterations do we have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So we have in the first for loop we have 3, right? It iterates 3 times. Okay, then you have the second one which iterates 2 times. So therefore 3 multiplied by 2, it is going to run 6 times. Okay, so you can change this if you want. 10 multiplied by 20, right? So what happened? See how many of them we got, right? And right. And similarly, let us take a smaller one for the sake of understanding. Uh, 5 and then 2. Okay. So I hope you are able to understand. So in the first loop, it ranges from, it has a range of 5. 5 means it starts from 0 and goes till 4. So the indexing starts from 0, right? And here, therefore, that is the reason why you see till 4, 0, 1, 2, 3, and 4. And therefore, you have J has a range of 2. Okay. So what does that mean? It is just 0 and 1. So that is why on the right hand side, you can just see 0, 1, 0, 1. Right? On the left side, it ranges from 0 to 4. Okay. So why to make use of range, right? Let's say that you are given something to iterate on. So let's say you have an imposition to write something about 100 times. It really doesn't happen in any digital format, right? Think of it, let's say that you have to do it 100 times, okay, without doing it all by yourself. Therefore, if you write a code saying that the range should be till 100, it is going to execute 100 times already, right? So you can just say for I in range, print I. So when you do that, you get 0, 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay. And then you can take like 9. So you get 0 to 8. Okay. Right. So I hope you understood what range means, right? So you can just specify a range. So how many times you want the loop to execute, right? So I want this loop to execute 9 times. So here I say I want this loop to execute 100 times, right? So you can do that. So using range, can you do other operations? Of course you can, right? So using this, you can print tables, right? You can print some patterns, right? You can do a lot of things using just the range. Okay. So right. So I hope range is clear for you guys, and looping, right? So if you do not want 0, you can just do I plus 1, right? It starts with 1, right? It is all about logic, guys, right? So you have learned how to navigate through Python so far. So next is you just have to apply a little bit of logic. So if you say that how to start it with 1, you can just say just add 1, right? And your list is going to start with 1. Okay, right. Okay. So let us move on with the next concept. So before that, it is 8 already. So we'll have a short break. Okay, 8, 10. Let us resume the class. Okay. So just take a little break, take a breather, and come back, guys. Come back with a fresh mind. We are going to be learning quite more of them. And I can see that there are quite some requests that, can we do this? Can we write this program? Certainly we can, but it is just that we are short of time. Unfortunately, we can't really do everything, right? So you can explore them, and we will have a separate session where we can clear the doubts. Okay. So over there, you can ask any sort of questions. All right. So for now, let us focus on the concept, right? So take a breather and let's meet up at 8:10, right? All right. I hope everyone is back. It is 8:10, guys. I guess we can resume the session. If we are good to go, just type in GTG. All right. Cool. So we saw that we are able to print a range. Okay. That is, we are able to iterate through a range. Okay. So let us go through the rest of them. Yeah. The next would be the control statements, right? So certain times when you're in a loop, you might want to break through the loop, right? So you might want to skip through certain things in the loop. So in that case, we will be using something called as the loop control statements. Okay. So loop control statements such as break and continue will help us with the controlling of our loop. In this case, break is going to help us exit a loop prematurely, right? What does that mean? So before the execution is completed of the for loop or any loop, right? So it will be exiting. So in this case, it will run for 100 times. But if you say that break after so and so number, just it is going to just break there. Let's say it is 50. Okay, it is going to exit prematurely at that particular number itself, right? The rest of the 50 iterations will not be run. So that is the break statement. So let us observe and understand how it works. Okay. For number in numbers, we have the numbers here, right? Already, let us use the same. If number is equal to, let's say 3, okay, we'll say break. Okay, right. So what happens in this case when the iteration reaches to the point where number becomes 3, it is going to break through the, from the loop. Okay, then let us also print the number so that we can understand when it breaks. And when we execute this now, we can see that how many numbers are printed, just 2 of them. Because when it encountered 3, it says break and it broke out of the chain. It did not execute anymore. Now it is not 0, 1, 2 because in this case the numbers is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, do not get confused. Okay, we are not dealing with the range here. All right. Okay, I could understand the confusion there, but it is not actually 0, 1, 2, right? So when it encounters 3, it broke out of it. So let's say that we give 5. What is the expected result? Can you just type in? If you know, just type in so that I can understand. Okay. Some of you say 1, 2, 3, 4, and most of you are saying 1, 2, 3, 4. Some of you say every number. Okay, not okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, any other guesses? Just 1. How is that possible? Just 4. Okay, all right. So let's break the mystery here, and it is just going to print 1, 2, 3, 4. Right? Because when it encounters 5, it is going to break. And you can see where our print statement is, right? Our print statement is after the break, not before it. Correct. What if it was before? right? So if we try to execute this, it is just going to print 5. 1 second. Yeah. Why does it print 5? Because the condition says if number equals to 5, only then print the number, then break out of the loop. Then if you say number equals to 3, right? So the condition here is only if the number is 3, then print the number. Otherwise, don't do it. So therefore, it has to be outside if you want to print all of them, right? So in this case, why does it print only 1, 2, 3, 4? Because as soon as it encounters 5, the condition gets satisfied. And what is within the condition? A break statement, correct? And it just says break out of the loop, don't do anything. So which is our for loop? It is this block. So it breaks out of this block completely. Then this line will not be executed anymore. That is it, correct? So I hope you got clarity on this, right? It is a simple one, but some of you almost got it, guys. You almost got it, but most of you got it right. Great. So next we will understand another statement, that is continue. Okay, right. So it works slightly different than the previous one. Okay, break did what in this case? It just prints 1 and 2 because the condition says if it is 3, break. But if we give continue, then what happens? It prints 1, 2, 4, 5. So what does continue mean? It means that if the condition satisfies in this case, just skip that iteration, skip the current iteration, and go to the next one. So in this case, it prints 1, okay, then goes back into the loop, again prints 2, goes back into the loop, and when it is 3, it checks, it gets satisfied, this condition gets satisfied, and there what you have, continue. Therefore, it says don't print, don't do anything in this iteration, just move out and come back again, right? It says now when number is 4, so number is not equal to 3, correct? 4 is not equal to 3, therefore continue will not execute again, right? Therefore, your number will be printed onto the display, right? So can you guys guess the input or the output of this? Okay. All of you got it right. Right. Perfect, guys. So you have understood the concept of break and continue both. Okay. So where can you use this? You can use it in multiple conditions, right? Let's say that you don't want the action to be performed on some element, right? For example, if you say that you want to print only even numbers, or you say you want to print only odd numbers, right? So in that case you can just skip. So when the number is, you want to print even numbers, so you are going to check if the number is an odd number, you will say continue, right? And only print the even numbers, right? So can you guys try it out and give me the code tomorrow, whatever you have tried, and I'll give you a little hint. You can make use of modulus for this. Okay. Just try it out and we can take a look at it tomorrow. Okay. Sounds fair? Yeah. If you can do it, just let me know. If it is going to be too difficult, also let me know. Okay. Right. Oh, I can also, I can already see that you guys are sending me the condition. Great. Perfect, guys. All right, all right. So try it out. I'll leave the mystery up to you guys for now, and we'll move on to the next topic. Okay, right. Okay, so we have the while loop as well. Okay, this is one of the most dangerous kind of statements because it can run indefinitely, right? If you are not writing it properly, it can run into a infinite loop. Infinite is you can't really count how many times this loop runs. Here we saw that there was a limit. There was a limit of 5, 10, 12, 100, and so on, right? But while loop, if you do not write it properly, it is not going to have any limit and your system may crash. I mean, first is your IDE will crash. Okay, your program is going to crash. And then, certain times your system also can crash. Okay, crash as in it is just going to run out of memory and it may just require a restart. Okay, it is not going to just blow up or anything. Don't worry. You can certainly try it out. So let's go ahead with this. So we'll say we'll take an initial value with the help of a variable count. And the syntax goes something like this. So while count is less than 5, I'll say print count for me. And then I'll say I want to increment the count every time because the count is 0 at the moment. But I want to increment the count so that it reaches 5 and it breaks out of the loop. Okay, let's understand that, what I mean by that. So plus equal to, right? We saw this in the yesterday's class, right? Plus equals to means it is as simple as writing count equals to count plus 1. Okay, it is a very short form, shorthand notation of the same. Okay. Therefore, when we run this, it says count is not defined. Why? Can anyone debug this? I already got the answer. Good one, Ravi. Great. Perfect. So it is a case sensitive language, right? You can't really mess around with this. So whatever you write, you have to remember it and write it exactly the way it is. You can't really do the spelling mistake. So you can see that the loop has run about 5 times and the value has started from 0. And you can understand the importance of this line. Correct. Because what if this line was not there at all? Then this condition says what? What is this condition? It says while count is less than 5, print count. Whatever the value is count, just print it to me. And we have taken the count value as 0. And let's say that you run this program, come back after 1 hour. Okay, just imagine and see what the count value is. Would it have changed at all? Of course not, because your count is not being modified anywhere. You have not applied the modifier just like we did earlier, right? It is going to stay the same and always satisfy this condition infinitely. If this computer is up and running without, with all the electricity, without the power going out, without anything happening to it, even if it is 100 years, it is going to keep on running this loop, right? But that is a very far-fetched notion. I don't really think that it is going to run. It is obviously going to crash because it is going to run out of memory. So it would give us an infinite loop. Okay. Infinite loop otherwise. Okay. I hope it makes sense. Right. So that is why when you're developing something, you have to be very, very careful while making use of a for loop. Okay. I've seen many experienced developers throughout, but not everyone has the courage to write a while loop. They don't really do it because what if something goes wrong and the condition is satisfied all the time? Then your program is going to break, right? So there is no definite way to come out of that loop, which is why we make use of either range or a for loop, right? So depending on the requirement. But as far as the programming constructs go, you should understand what a while loop is also, right? Because the same can exist within other programming languages as well, right? Whatever the concepts that we are learning exists in other languages too. Only thing is, it is going to be a little different. The way you write is going to be a sort of different. Okay. How to exit an infinite loop? You'll just have to stop the kernel here like this. You just have to say shut down the kernel, or probably say interrupt the kernel or restart the kernel. So it is going to actually interrupt everything, and you'll be able to come out of it. Okay, right. So we understood the usage of break and continue, right? So next we have let us understand some conversion, that is the type conversion. Okay, so we have let's say so what type is this? Can you please type it on the chat box? It is a number, but what specific type? It is a no, not an integer. Most of you got it right. A couple of you did not get it, but it is a floating type. Okay, so if you want to just check what type it is, type of X is going to give you float. Okay, so now we are talking about conversion of one value into, that is one type into another. Okay, so what we are going to do is, let's say that we want to convert it into an integer. Okay, meanwhile, can you just type in what we would get if we convert 5.6 into an integer? Correct. Okay, almost correct. All right. Oh no, you're way off. 56 is not the answer. Okay. Anyway, it is gonna be 5. So when you're trying to convert a floating point, what it does is it is just going to remove the decimal, that is the decimal part, right? And it converts it into a whole number. That is what it does. And mostly it does a rounding down. So 5.9 is also 5. So what does it mean? It is not rounding up. The value is not rounding up to 6. So most of you have, some of you have given me 6 and most of you have given me 5, and 5 is the correct answer. 6 is incorrect because in this case, it is always going to round down. Okay, and not, it won't round up the value. Okay, rounding up will give us the value as 6, right? So that is what we have. Okay. So next, one moment, guys. Okay. So it gives a floor value and not roof. Yes, it gives us the floor value. Correct. All right. So we'll be learning about floor and it's not exactly roof in this case. It is called as seal. Okay, seal is the ceiling. Right. Next, we are going to understand the conversion of a string to a number. Okay. So can you actually convert a string into a number? Not exactly, as long as your string contains a numeric value. Let's say 3.14 is your string value. So if you convert this into a floating value, then what happens? Y changes to 3.14. And if you see, type of Y will be now float because we just ended up converting it altogether. Correct? Earlier it was a string. So when you remove this, you will be able to see a difference here, right? String is always denoted with the quote, that is the quotations, but numerical value is not, right? And the type changes to str, string. Okay. So what about 0.1? Okay, that's an interesting question, right? Right? And it is always zero because it is always rounding it down. Okay. Right. Thanks for that question. It was, I think everyone needed that. So I hope you understood this, right? This is the type conversion. Sometimes your type might not be, what you require, okay? Because you can't really do any mathematical operations on string, can you? You really can't because it requires the data type in either integer or a floating point, okay? So only then you can perform the mathematical operation. All right. Fine. Next, let's go into the mathematical operations and functions. So first is we have an absolute value, right? Absolute value is going to give us a value without, it is an unsigned value, right? Let's say that x is 5, okay? X value is what? Just 5. Then if you do -5, x value becomes -5, right? There is no doubt in that. But when we want the absolute value, we just do abs and pass it as an input into that function function argument. So now you can see that x becomes 5, right? So it just takes any value and strips off the the signage and gives you the absolute value. Absolute value of you know 55 is going to be, so that is -55 is going to be 55. Okay. So for example, if you want to convert it, convert the negative value into a positive value, you can make use of absolute, right? Yes, it does convert it, right? So next, if you want to make use of the power of something, right, raising the power of the number, so you can just use uh, so the function is pow, okay, stands for power, and you say you give two values. Now what y would contain? 2 to the power of 3, that is 8, correct? And you can easily calculate a value that is the power of any value using this. Quite simple, isn't it? So when you use these, you can start creating your own equations, right? Your own functions. So that is how you can write other mathematical functions. Then we have rounding. Okay. So z is round off 3.68. Now what z is? It is 4, right? You can see that there is a difference in int of something, conversion of an integer from a float, and rounding up. So rounding up is what? Depending on the decimal value, it is going to either round up or round down the value, right? So if it is 3.99, it is still going to be 4. So if it is 3.10, it will be 3. And let's get into the edge values. 3.49. It is still 3, right? Only after 3.50 you can consider to round up, correct? Isn't that how rounding up and down works, right? Same thing can be achieved with your Python programming too. Okay, so next we have a random function. Okay, so before that, let us look into a couple of them, right? So let's say that you want the square root of something, right? So what you are going to do, you are going to first import something. Import math. So math is a library which provides you all the mathematical functionalities. It gives your Python the power of math, right? It is like Python becomes an instant genius in math just by importing the statement. So it is as simple as import math. Okay. Next, what we can do is, we can use, say, result is math dot square root of 16, right? When you print the result, yes, it is similar to the math in C, right? It is the math library that you import, right? Where you want to start calculating, complex operations, complex numbers, and everything. So therefore, similarly, Python also has the math library, right? So I hope you are able to understand this. So any number that you give, it is going to give you the square root, right? Square root of that number in an instant. So you don't really have to sit and calculate anything. Okay. Right. So why can't it give 4? Because this is, as you can see, that it is a floating point, right? So if you just see type of result, so it is a floating point. So therefore, 4 as an integer can be written as 4.0 in the floating point, the floating value, right? So I hope you got it. Why it can't give 4? It is because the default data type is float. Okay. Similarly, you can have the value of pi, right? Let's say pi value, you can take maths.pi and print this. So it gets you the pi value. Okay. So similarly, we have the floor, the ceil, and the factorial, right? One of you asked this question. Let's say ceil value is math.ceil of let's say 4.3. So when you print the ceil value, it is going to give you 5 because you are explicitly asking it to round up, even though it is closer to 4. It is supposed to be rounded down. You are saying that I want this number to be rounded up. Okay. So similarly, you can also have a floor value. So you guessed it right. It will be floor, right? It is as simple as talking in English, right? Python is very simple, as you can see. Okay. So the floor value it is always going to round it down. Okay. And of course, 4.3 can always be rounded down, but let us take 4.9, right? This should obviously be rounded up, right? So it is still rounding it down to 4. Okay. So that is when you say explicitly to round up or round up. Ceil is used to round up the number, right? Ceil is nothing but your ceiling, round up, and floor is towards the downwards direction, therefore round it down. Okay, it's just the keywords that they have taken. Next, we have factorial. Okay, factorial of, let's just say factorial and say math dot factorial of 5. Okay, so what should be the factorial of 5? It will be 120, right? Factorial of 5 is what? 5 multiplied by 4 into 3 into 2 into 1, right? It is going to be 120, right? So that is the factorial value for you. Yes, perfect. Okay, so most of you are able to follow through this, which is great. Thank you, guys. And now let's move on to the next topic, which is the random function. Okay, so the random function is going to return a random value every time you execute it. Okay, so let's say that you just want to generate some random number out of the fly. Okay, so it is just going to generate it for you. And how do we do that? It is quite simple. Similar to this, you have to import random. So this is another library that Python contains. So using this, you can start, importing, that is, you can start printing some random numbers. So random number is going to be random. And again, it has a function called random. So this library, so we are making use of this library here, referring to this library, similar to this one, right? Math is referring to the math library. So random is referring to the random library. And it has a function inside called as random again. Okay. So random dot random. And you can see that if you print your random number, it is just going to throw some number out. And right now it is 0.16109 and so on. And now again, I run this 0.04014. Run it again, 0.976, 0.10. And what does this mean? Every time you run this, it is going to output some random number every time. And you can observe that no matter how many times I run this, it is in the range of 0 and 1. Correct? It is not going beyond that. So therefore, it is going to return a random floating point number which exists between 0 and 1. Okay. So next, similarly, we have a random integer. Okay, when you want to have some random integer, uh, you know, printed onto the display. And where can you use this? Right? When you want to just generate some random number for some testing, right? You want to generate some random number so that you can test your application somewhere, right? Or you want to do some encryption using some random key. So using this, you can generate a key. So encryption is where you take a plain text and you are going to jumble it using a methodology called encryption. And that encryption requires some sort of key, which is going to work as a modifier. So your encrypted text will be much different from your original text. Okay, that is a different topic. But in the interest, I just told you guys where we can use the random numbers. Okay, so next we have again random integer. So random integer would be like random dot. Instead of just random, we will just say rand int. So rand int, it stands for random integer. Okay. Yes, Rishi, cryptography. That is where we are going to use a random number. Good. Right. So that is the encryption I was talking about. Okay. So random integer, right? It is, let's say that I want to generate a random integer between the starting value and the ending value. I'll just say 1 and 10. Okay, now if you print your random integer, it is going to give you values between 1 and 10, right? 1, 6, 3, 8, 4, 2, 8, 1, 8, 1, 4, 3, 6, and so on, right? And you can do this for any number of range that you want, right? I want to generate 1 to 100, right? It changes, right? So where can you use this? Let's say that you have sold about 1,000 lottery tickets and each of them has probably a serial number or something like that. Okay. So when you want to pick a winner, why can't you just do this, right? This is the most, the fairest way of picking a lottery winner, right? You have about 10 customers, 10 people who have purchased, and let's say that you use the random function, random integer, and say 45th candidate is the real winner, right? So that is a very fair way of actually generating your random numbers. Okay, so it is just an example. Of course, you may not use it for something like that. You may use it for many other operations, right? Okay, so you might use it in testing mostly. Okay, when you're writing your scripts and you want to test it with different numeric values, right? You can't really keep on typing different values every single time you want to do the testing. You'll say, I want to test between 1 and 50,000. Okay, and it is going to input the value as you give and test it for all of them. Can I use it in CAPTCHA generator? Of course you can, right? So you can do it. Right. Okay. Next. Okay, so we have the trigonometric function. Okay, so entire mathematics is present in this. Okay, similar to the import statement, we need to import math for this. You don't really have to do it again because I've already imported math here and run this cell. Therefore, within this file, math library is completely valid. I'm showing this again just because you guys can understand that math library is required to run this. Okay, let's say that you want to understand what is the angle with the pi, that is 45 degree in radians. So how do you represent it? Pi divided by 4, right? How do you write pi? Math dot pi divided by 4. So this is 45 degrees in radians. So what is the angle? You get 0.78. Okay, so that is in the decimal value. Then you can check the sine value. Sine value using math.sine, saying that I want to check the sine value of this angle. Okay, what is the sine value? It is going to be 0.707. Okay, at the moment we are not able to verify all of these, but you can do that and it is going to be accurate. Okay, so math.sin will give you the sine. Similarly, math.cos is going to give you the cos value. Okay, and so on, right? You can use this to get your trigonometric values. That is that you can execute the trigonometric functions. Okay. Right. Hope it makes sense. Everything is clear so far. Let me know if you have any doubts and anything that is not clear in these. Okay, I can see quite a okay, all yeses so far. Perfect. Right. So next we can go into the strings. Okay. So strings, again, we understood a little bit about the escape characters, right? So what was the escape characters that we saw yesterday? It is the slash. Okay, so this is the escape character. Using this, you will be able to, uh, you know, insert the special characters, which are actually difficult to represent directly in the string. Right. So what are these escape characters that we are talking about? So it is /n, it stands for new line. Then /t is a tab space. And if you want to just write a backslash, you will just write double backslash, because this, the first one is going to escape the second one, right? It is an escape character. So it is going to print as it is, right? Then you have double quote. So all these are special characters which you can't really write in a string directly, right? So therefore, it is just going to escape them. Okay. Then let's get back into this. Okay. So for example, your text can contain a string like hello, then /n word. Okay. In this case, what happens? /n is going to be understood as a new line, right? So when you print this, it is printing as it is at the moment, because this is like a regular string. But generally, when you view this, probably in a HTML or something like that, what happens? This will be print one below the other. So /n stands for exactly what we talked about, the new line character, right? So it is going to be print in the below line. So you must have observed this in other programming languages that you have learned at your colleges, right? So it is going to print below. So that is about the special characters, and you can have others like /t. So it is going to put in a tab space between this. A tab space would look something like this. Let's say that I'm going to type hello, and instead of space, I'll press tab. Okay. So when I press tab, it is going to take this much amount of space and print, and you can write the rest of them like this. Okay. So let's say if it was a string, and space, that is the tab space and your string. So there would be a tab space gap between them. Okay, that will be encoded as /t. It would look something like this. Therefore, this is going to add extra gap. Okay, right. Then we have concatenation. Okay, concatenation would look something like this. So let's say we have two strings. Okay, hello and then world. So how would you join them together? Right? So it is quite simple. You will just say result equals to str1 plus, you are going to use plus, and then say str2. Okay. So I've deliberately made a mistake so that we can understand one more concept in this. That is, when you try to concatenate two strings, you can see the output is hello world, but it is without a space. Therefore, what you have to do is you have to add a space explicitly. Explicitly is by yourself. So when I added a space and concatenated that with string 1 and string 2, now three things are concatenated: string 1 and then an empty space and then string 2, right? So then hello space world. Okay, right. So here you can say that if I do not want this, okay, how can I achieve a space? I can see that Yashwant, you have asked a good question. You can add the space within the string 2 itself, right? Just like what I did now, you can add it. But the problem is, are you going to be able to do it for every string that exists? Probably not, right? You have to be very careful while writing your string. Just because you will be adding, you need to add an extra space. That is too much of work, too much of things to, keep in mind. So that is why we just use the concatenation. We concatenate one more string. That's it, like this. Okay. So can we concatenate the strings directly? What if we did not have str1 and str2? Of course you can. So hello space world. So this also gives you the same result. Okay, nothing changed, right? Next, we have the repetition. So concatenation is done with the help of a plus symbol or the addition operation, right? When you use the addition operation with strings, it is going to just concatenate them together. Keyword is concatenate. Okay. And if you do the multiplication, what it does, you may have guessed it. It just prints it one after the other, the n number of times that you define there. Okay. So I said that add the text, that is multiply this text by 3. What if I say multiply it by 10? Right? In this case, you can just give a space here, the earlier trick that we used, and you can print them 10 times, right? You may not really use this much, but let's say that you're working with something like, printing the pattern, right? So the text can be a star, right? One of you seem to have asked this. So you can print star like this, and when you run it through a loop, then you'll be able to find this pattern, right? So the loop is going to decrement from 10 to 1 or 1 to 10, anything that you want, and you'll be able to print this. Okay, so that is the repetition for you. Okay, the keyword is what? Repetition. Okay, so next we have string formatting operators. Okay, so I'm just going to add some code here, that is with some variables. Name is Alice, age is 30, and height is 5.8. Okay, so we can write this in a print statement, probably a formatted text. And you can take name is, or you can just say name. So you want to print Alice here, right? So you can just use the formatted strings for this. And another way of string formatting using the string formatting operators. So the concept is string formatting operators. Okay. So here what we can do is, instead of this, we will just use %s for a string, and then percentage or %d. Okay, %s, %d for an integer, and then percent. Let's say I want up to 2 decimal. I'll say .2f for a floating point. Okay. And this must be, this will be read in a way like this. Okay, space, percent, say name, then comma age, comma height. Okay. So name is Alice, right? So percent S. Then we will say age is going to be percent D, which is 30, and comma height is going to be uh, percent dot 2F. 2F is for two decimal precision point. Okay, right. So when you run this, you'll be able to get, sorry, what just happened? One moment. Yeah, we have the F string, right? So how do we write the F string? First of all, yeah, I missed the F here. Sorry. So F is going to be like this, right? And with the help of this, you can write, the what do you say? One moment. What were we talking about? Right. Yeah, that is the string formatting operators, right? So with the help of the F string, you can do this. Right. So here it says name is Alice and age is 30 and height is 5.80. Okay. So that is on the formatting part. Right. So let me just look at the time. Okay, it is 9:03. Right. So any questions before we wind up the class today? I know that we have a time box in this. Sorry, guys. We'll have to take up the rest of them in tomorrow's class. Do you have any questions in this? Okay. So why do you add F while printing? That is the formatted strings. We already learned it in the previous class. It must be somewhere here. Yeah, I guess it has been deleted, but F is, yeah, it is here. So it is going to help you with printing the details, just like what we did, right? So, right, you'll have to use that. Okay. Any other questions? Loop, you can go through the video again. You will be able to understand. It is not going to be very complicated, right? So from tomorrow, we'll be continuing with the string concept. We'll have a little more in this, and we'll move on to the next. A notebook file will not be required. If you want, I can provide it, but I will be editing a lot within this notebook file. But you will be given the notes where you will have code like this. Okay, code similar to this, where you can just type in the same code. Okay, if you want, you can just copy paste the same code into your Jupyter notebook, and you will be able to execute the same. Okay, yes. Okay. Any other questions? Material will be provided you by Amar. Amar, can you please chime in here?
Yes, sure. Guys, so material is already there over the LMS, so you can just check it over the LMS. You will get that. If not, then I will also check. But material you will find over the LMS only. Okay. Which link, guys, you're asking to me? Sir, where can I mark my attendance? So, Sahil, I already shared the attendance link couple of times, so you can mark your attendance. And if you want, I will share it once again. So please mark your attendance and don't forget to share your feedback as well, because your feedback means a lot for us. So if your participant asking me, sir, from where we get the notes? So guys, those who are looking for notes and you don't know how to access that, so go through the day one recording. You will get to know that how to access the material recordings from there. Yes, sure, buddy. Absolutely right.
How can you avoid the infinity loop in while? As I said, you need to have a certain limit, right? Just like what we did earlier, we took a value and we just incremented till it reaches the condition. So take a look at this. Here it says the count initial value of count is 0. It starts with 0. And what we do is we just increment the count value by 1. So when you do this, you will have a finite set of values, that is finite set of loops that it can run. Because so once it reaches 4, the next value is 5, right? Count becomes 5. So when count is 5, does that condition satisfy? Count is less than 5? No, not at all, right? Then it comes out of the loop. So while the condition is true, it is going to keep on printing it. And let's say that we remove this. Okay, and when you try to print this, what happens? It is just going to keep on printing zeros. Okay, it is printing them indefinitely, and my screen has completely frozen. I'm not really able to operate through it much. It's very slow. And you can see that it says not enough memory to open this page. So it crashed my entire program, right? And you can see that the error code is out of memory. I'm not sure if you can see this, but I'm unable to zoom at this point. Yeah, it is not really working for me. But that is what happens when you try to execute a while loop without a proper condition. I hope that clarifies your doubt, Chinmay. Sure, sure. All right. Any other questions before we call it a day? Definitely. Okay. So if I take up the coding questions at the moment, what happens is I will not be able to cover the concepts, right? The thing is, for you guys to you need to understand the concept. So when you do that, you will be able to create it on your own. I can certainly create a bunch of examples and say, hey, look at this. We just designed a Christmas tree out of a bunch of stars. We designed a triangle out of some stars and some lines. We could certainly do it. But the thing is, we will be essentially taking a lot of time towards those examples. Okay. But, once we are done with these explanation, we can certainly get into this. Okay. At the moment, it is so short of time that I feel like I need more time to get to you guys. I can see that all of you are understanding. That is my goal at the moment, right? For me, your understanding is what matters, right? Otherwise, it doesn't really serve the purpose. So we will get into all of those when we get the time, when we are done with all the topics, and certainly we can do it. And what I would appreciate more is for you guys to try the same, right? I want you guys to give it a try and see whether you will be able to achieve it or not, right? So when you are able to do it all by yourself, right, that gives you the highest amount of satisfaction in this, trust me. And before reaching that, you will be running into a lot of issues. That is, when I say a lot of issues, you will get a lot of errors, right? I can see in the chat that you are sending me some piece of code and saying that you are getting these kinds of errors, right? So this is part of learning. So this is actually which says that you are on the right path. So when you encounter these errors, it means that you are doing it right. You are exploring it, right? You are doing all the mistakes right now so that when you get into your interviews or when you get into your assessments, you will not be making the same mistakes at that time, right? So that is what matters, guys. So keep it up, keep it going, and certainly we will figure out a solution for all of these, and we will be discussing more questions going forward. So for now, just keep up with the topic. You might be executing a code as and when we are doing it. Okay, that is a great thing. But at the same time, keep up with the topic also, right? Because even if you do not do any hands on and just listen to the explanation, go through the code that I'm doing, that is more than enough for now. Because when you get into the notes, right, you will be able to see them in detail. The same thing that we have explained, you will be able to see the same code as well, right? Along with a bunch of other example codes that you can try it out. Okay, you can just copy that and you can put it in your Jupyter notebook and run it, and you'll be able to understand it even better, right? And then compare it with the code that you wrote, and you will be able to see what was the mistake that you did, similar to the one that I did today, right? I made a mistake where I took an uppercase letter when it was supposed to be a lowercase, right? And some indentation issue was there. So all of those will be clarified when you compare your code with the code in the notes, right? All right. I hope that clears your doubts, guys, and I really appreciate all of you for staying back. I know it is 9:15, and I can still see a bunch of you who are trying to get all your doubts resolved. I really appreciate the enthusiasm. Keep this going. Keep the momentum going. Most of all, keep the momentum going. What I mean by this is you have taken up a step to learn Python, right? One thing that you have to do is not miss the class. And the second thing that you have to do is go back and practice. So with this, your momentum is going to be great, and you will be able to learn this programming language soon enough. Okay. So do not worry about it. Keep this going. And that is the only thing that I'm going to expect from you guys. Okay. To make this course easy for you guys is my job. Okay. And for the understanding purpose, I will be keeping all the explanation as simple as possible. I can see a couple of them, a couple of you guys saying that, why don't we do some complex logic, right? Certainly we can do a complex logic, but you have to look at the audience at the end of the day, right? Maybe you may get stuck at the simple logic also if you do not understand the syntax there, right? So here we are here to learn Python and completely understand it, right? Because one day, sooner or later, you will be writing your own complex logic because your boss is going to ask you for it, saying that, hey, I'm going to need this. I want this file to be uploaded. I want this file to be compressed, right? I want you to read the contents of the file and display it to me, right? I want you to analyze this CSV file or the Excel file, right? So when your boss says that, you are going to be doing it, obviously, right? So let's save all those for later. For now, let's focus on the topic at hand, which is Python and understanding of the programming constructs within the Python. Okay. All right, guys, let me wrap up the session then. Um, thank you for joining, and all of you have a good night, and I'll see you all tomorrow.
Guys, any question for me? Please let me know. And coming to the notes, I'm just checking from the backend and it's there, so you can find it now.
Amar, can you please update the notes that I'll be sharing now? It is an updated notes, so everyone can download a copy of that.
Yeah,
Okay.
sure.
I'll
You
be
can share
sharing
with
in a
me.
bit.
I will upload that.
Okay, perfect. Thank you, Amar.
Yeah. Guys, please mark your attendance. Don't forget.
A couple of them are having a doubt on what an LMS is. Amar, have you briefed them about it? I believe you have.
Yeah, I already briefed in
Maybe
the
they have
paper.
missed it.
Guys, if you're still looking for the same thing, so I will do one thing on tomorrow session in the first 5 minutes, not in the first 5 minutes, 6:55 to 7. I will take a quick recap. Okay, so be there. I will show you once again. Okay, guys. So please
Okay, I
join
can
me
see
tomorrow.
that a lot of them are enjoying the session, which is a great thing. Thank you,
Yes.
guys. You are the ones who will, who is going to motivate me to have a better explanation every single day, right? Thank you so much for being the lovely audience that you have been so far. Data frame, at this moment, we haven't really got into this. We'll be looking at it later, right? So df1 equals to df. Right. So it depends on whether you have taken a shallow copy or a deep copy in this, right? So if it is a deep copy, it is going to change it, obviously. And if it is a shallow copy that you have taken, you will be able to maintain two different data frames. So, one that is the original, and second is the one that you want to modify. Okay. So it depends on the kind.
So there is one question regarding the exam. Do you conduct the exam, sir? Yes, guys. We'll have one assessment test of 100 marks. So it will be surprise. It will be there on any day. So Be ready with that. Just keep practicing whatever you're learning now. I will have MCQ test, okay? And it will be a surprise test, and you will get the surprise gift as well.
Right, guys. Please practice the theoretical part and as well as the practical part so that you can you can ace this test. Okay, so there will be both theoretical questions as well as the practicals. You don't really have to code there, but you should be able to guess what is the output of the code. Okay. Sorry, I think I missed your question, Dheeraj. So df1 equals to df directly. Okay, that is obviously it is going to change if you make the right. If you make the change in the other data frame, it is going to affect the previous data frame as well. Okay, so if you do not want this to happen, so look it up. If you have already reached the data frames level, you just have to make the whether you want the shallow copy or the deep copy, you can do that. Right.
There are 2-3 questions from the students regarding to the surprise test. So they are asking me when the surprise test will be there. So guys, if I may reveal now the date of the test, then what is the surprise in that? Am I
Okay,
right?
sorry, this is the cable, right? Hi, sorry, Dheeraj. I can read it as Dheeraj cable. Okay, sorry. Hi, cable. Yes, that is what happens. So depending on the shallow copy and the deep copy, you'll be able to modify it, right? We looked at one of the example yesterday where someone asked whether, how do we preserve the old order before sorting it? That is the original order. So that is the same thing, right? You have to take a different copy of it, a shallow copy, so that it doesn't get affected by the change of the other data frame or the other variable in this case. Okay, right. And about the surprise test, when the surprise test is going to be, so the question itself is not valid, right? Therefore, you'll not know. That is why it is surprise test. Otherwise, it is just a test. Okay. So a book for reference, you can first things first, you can go through the notes that we have, right? And you have a really good, uh, you know, an O'Reilly book. Let me just check. I mean, it changes, right? It changes, from back then where we had popular publications. It may not be the best today because things have changed, right? So the one that I have gone through, and I guess it still stands the same, is Learn Python the Hard Way. Okay, that is a great book by Zed Shaw. Okay, reading the book is going to take you a tremendous amount of time. One is you can go through our course, okay, and understand, every bit of it, and then you can explore. From there, you can start exploring. But when you get into a book, rather than attending these sessions, what happens is you start from scratch, and it is going to take you a tremendous amount of time, and you may not be able to catch up with the world that is running really fast. Okay, so you can use this method to quickly get into it. Okay, I think we can wind up this session. Amar?
Yeah, sure. Thank you
Yeah.
so much, all of
Okay.
you, and we'll meet you on tomorrow.
Thank you, everyone. I'll meet you all tomorrow, and